everyone, and welcome back to another video for Phantasy Star Online Blue Burst. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the Gallon Shop subquest in episode 2. So I've had a couple of requests to look at this, so we're going to go through what the quest is and what it's used for, and also a couple of extra things you can add to the quest to make it a bit more beneficial to you. So the first thing we're going to do is show you how to access Gallon Shop. So what you want to do first is make an episode 2 game in any difficulty, and just go to the quest counter like you normally would. And Gallon Shop is just under the shop menu, and it's this one here. So when you load in, there's a couple of things that you can do in this quest. So Gallon Shop is primarily, as the name suggests, a shop where you can exchange for different things. It's quite often used for another secret shop that's in the quest though, which I'll go on to in a minute. So first of all, we'll cover actual Gallon himself. So to get to Gallon, so Gallon is a merchant that offers you different services. If you talk to different people, what you'll find quite quickly is that Gallon is a slightly dodgy merchant. So are you going to that shop? I'm not trying to stop you, but how much can you put up with? Are you a patient person? Are your fingers okay? Oh, never mind, don't listen to me. I didn't say anything. Obviously trying to warn you not to go. To access Gallon Shop, you just come in here. So from the Hunters Guild, you just run straight through and take this left here. And just speak to any of these quest receptionists. And these will transport you to Gallon Shop directly. So this is Gallon, and this is his shop. So you've got a little teleporter here, so you just access this when you want to leave. You've got 4 terminals at the edges of the room, and then Gallon himself. So if we talk to Gallon, he has a few different services he can offer. So he can wrap items for you. Wrapping an item basically makes it into a present, so that then if you give it to another player, they can unwrap the present. So it's a way of being able to gift an item to someone in PSO and make it a bit special so that they can actually unwrap it as a surprise. You can also buy CDs. So CDs are music discs that you can play during quests, so you can buy them here. You can also shop with what are called Gallon points. Now, Gallon points are a currency that are only used in Gallon Shop, and you can use them to exchange for things. So he says, oh, you see those computers there? You can play little games there for a fee, of course. If you get a good score, you can earn Gallon points to shop with. You can use Gallon points instead of Mazetta at this store. It's a great system for cash-strapped hunters, don't you think? So basically, he's a total con artist, and these machines are different mini-games that you can play. And depending on how well you do, you'll earn Gallon points, which you can use instead of Mazetta. So again, if we go and talk to him, so say if we want to buy a CD, we can buy those for Mazetta, that's fine. But if we go to shop with Gallon points, you can actually get the same options for Gallon points instead. Now, so there are 4 terminals that you can get, well, 3 of them you can get Gallon points from. So this first one here, this is a button mashing game. So what you have to do for this is basically mash the confirm button as fast as possible within 8 seconds, and depending on how many times you press it, you'll get a number of Gallon points equating to that. Now, if you're struggling to get a high score on this, there is a little sort of workaround that I've found for it. So if you're playing Blue Burst, you're playing it on PC, so this will only work on Blue Burst. What I tend to do is, what a lot of people recommend is use a turbo controller, but I don't personally recommend that because I think it is a little bit against the spirit of the game. However, I'm not above doing this. So what I do is I'll have my controller in one hand and I'll have my other hand on the enter key on my keyboard. And if you mash both of them, you can quite often get more presses in. So I'll show you that now. Apologies if any mashing sound comes through the microphone. So it's 30 Mazetta per player. And now we mash like crazy. So we got 121 there. Whereas I'll do it again now, but this time I'll only use the controller. So I got 5 points for that. But that's because it was a high score. If I got the same again, I'd probably get about maybe 3 points or so. I think when you get a high score, you get some extra bonus points. So I'll play it again, but this time I'll only use the controller. We only got 65 that time. So we're essentially doubling the output, and that's just by using the controller in one hand and mashing. For me, on an Xbox controller, it's the A button that I mash. And then using the other hand, I use on the enter key of my keyboard. So that to me is a really easy way of getting higher button presses on that game. So just a little tip for anyone who wants it. So for that, I got 2 points. That's one game. The next game is this one. And this is a guild card game. So this one, I won't get any points for this because I only tend to play solo on Blue Burst at the minute. So what this does is it basically scans the number of guild cards that you've got and it assigns you a number of Gallon points based on how many guild cards that you have. So the more guild cards you collect, the more points you'll get. Then this one. This is a timing game, so it's another 8-second game. And this one, what you have to do is you have to try and press a button as close to 8 seconds as you can. And the closer you are, the more points you get. It says press the down key, but what it means is the down key on your action palette, which for me on an Xbox controller is the A button. So you just try and get as close as you can to the 8 seconds. Now it does show you the timer, but obviously, you know, human reflexes, there is going to be a little bit of a delay. So 0.39 seconds, I'll take that. Old man reflexes. So for that, I got 1 point. So I find with this game, it's a lot harder to get good points out of. Unless you've got incredible reflexes, it seems to be very, very hard to get any decent points out of it. So if you are trying to farm Gallon points, I would personally recommend doing the button mashing game and using that keyboard method that I showed you. To be honest, I don't feel like there is a great way of earning Gallon points. Every single method seems quite slow. I mean, you saw that even with a high score on the button mashing game, I only got 5 points. And if we look at the costs now, so if I want to shop with Gallon points, it's 30 Gallon points to wrap one item. So with the Gallon points I've got there in total, I can wrap one item. Now, there is a few other reasons you want to earn Gallon points. So the main one is there is some special items that you can only get in Gallon Shop through this method. Most notable ones are the wall items, which are Hunter Wall, Ranger Wall, and Force Wall. And they are basically the rare shields that are designed for lower levels generally. However, Ranger Wall is actually really, really useful because it actually, I believe it does provide you with extra accuracy. So it is definitely worth getting. And I believe they're around 300 points. So if you want to save up for those, I would probably recommend doing the button mashing game to get that faster. So the last terminal here, this doesn't use Gallon points. This is what's called Lucky Roulette. And it says you'll need a lucky coin to play roulette. Now, you get the lucky coins by completing the Phantasmal World quests. So either Phantasmal World 1, 2, 3, or 4 will work. And what you do is, after you've completed the quest, before you hand it in at the quest counter, if you speak to Null, who's the Huni Whirl, she'll stand in the lab, in the lab area. If you speak to her, she will give you lucky coins. I believe it's based on the difficulty of the quest, so you get more with Ultimate. Obviously, they are quite difficult quests, so just bear that in mind. For each lucky coin you get, then you can have a spin on the roulette, and the roulette will give you a variety of different items depending on what it lands on. So it can be as bad as things like monomates and monofluids, but it can also go up to certain special weapons, and some of those special weapons can also have hit. Now, there's nothing incredibly rare. It tends to be the more common special weapons, but there are some really useful ones in there, such as you can get the Viaya with hit, you can get Disco of Bremen with hit, which are both really useful. So definitely recommend that So just remember that if you do run Phantasmal World in any difficulty, just remember to speak to Null to get your lucky coins, because if you hand it in at the quest count, you will actually lose the chance to get the coins that run. So that's Gallon Shop itself. However, the main reason people come to Gallon Shop is not actually for Gallon. So there is actually a second secret shop in this quest, and to access it, from where you spawn in, which is here, you want to run through it to here. And what you want to ensure is that you have at least one photon drop in your inventory. At the moment, we don't have one, so we won't be able to access the shop. So what I'll do is I'll just take my photon drops out. So we've got some photon drops in our inventory now. So what you want to do is go down these stairs, around here, and around this corner there's a hidden NPC, and it's Hopkins. And if you speak to Hopkins, he'll say, "Hey, that precious shiny thing you have, my father collects those. Do you want to meet him now?" And you say yes. And he'll actually take you to a secret shop. So this guy is Paganini. And Paganini, as you may have guessed, collects photon drops. So all photon drops are annoying when they drop, because you're being conned out of a rare drop. They do have a use, and you can use them here. So there are a few things that you can get from Paganini. You get quite a funny scene here where he gives Hopkins a rare item as thanks for bringing you here. And he says, don't lose it. And Hopkins says, "Oh, I never lose anything you give to me." That's quite funny, because if you do any of the retrieval quests like Lost Heat Sword, you know that it's always Hopkins that's lost the items, so it's a little bit of a callback. So he collects photon drops and photon spheres. So there's a few things you can do here. So the first one is exchange for items. So when you exchange for an item, he will offer you different items depending on how many photon drops are in your inventory. Now, I can't stress this enough. Only take the minimum amount of photon drops that you need to exchange for the item you want. If you look on things like the Eir Wiki, they will have a list of the minimum number of photon drops that you need for a specific item. Don't take more than that, because he will take any photon drops in your inventory. So if you trade in for an item that would only cost one photon drop normally, and you've got 99 in your inventory, he will take all 99. So just make sure that you are taking the minimum you need. So on this server, and on quite a lot of private servers, what they do is they just give you a list of different things you can pick from. On the original game, what it'll actually do is he will offer you random items, and you can say yes or no, and you just keep cycling through until you get the item you want. So you say yes. What do you want to trade for? So he's offering me a few things there, because I've got 64 photon drops in my inventory. So there's quite a few useful things that he can offer you. So for example, the blue Blackstone. This is used to upgrade a Monkey King bar into a Black King bar. Heart Key is used for several different things, so it can be used to upgrade a Spirit Garment into a Love Heart into a Sweetheart. It can upgrade a Wand into a Magical Piece. There's several different things you can use Heart Keys for. And Photon Boosters are also used for quite a few different things as well. So this upgrades Frozen Shooter into Snow Queen, it upgrades Mazer Beam into Power Mazer. I believe it upgrades Panzerfaust into Iron Faust, and there's a couple of others. But there are some very useful items in here. That's the first use of the shop here. Then there are two more uses, and these ones won't actually be available when you first load the quest, because they're actual sub-quests that you need to do to unlock these. So the first one is Modify ES Weapon. So what I'll do is I'll quickly take you over to the Eir Wiki. So on the Eir Wiki, if we look at this, the first thing you can do is modify ES weapons. So ES weapons he's referring to the S rank weapons that you get from challenge mode. And to do this, what you have to do is you have to, first of all, get some data from the East Tower quest. You can do this in any difficulty. And what it involves is load the East Tower quest and then speak to Hopkins, who'll be in the same place that he is in Gallon Shop. So just round that corner again. You'll speak to Paganini and he'll explain that he wants some data from the towers. What you then do is go to East Tower, run through the whole quest, defeat Epsilon at the end, And once you've done that, interact with the terminal at the top of the tower. I'll cut some footage in now just to show you what tower you need to interact with. Once you've completed that, then go back to Hopkins before you actually hand the quest back in. And he will then give you the ability to add specials to your S-rank weapons. So you'll be able to add things like Berserk or Jelen, Zalor, Blizzard, Burning, Hell, Demons, all these different special attacks you'll be able to add to your S-rank weapons, which makes them a lot better. Now, as I've said, you can do that on any difficulty. And once you've done it, you won't be able to do it again in that difficulty. So that's for these adding specials. The other thing you can do is you can add attributes to weapons. So this is, when I say attributes, I'm referring to things like native, altered beast, machine, dark. It doesn't include hit. And to do this one, you have to complete a subquest in the West Tower. Now, I don't have any footage of this, unfortunately, because I've actually already completed it on all my characters. But in this, you're looking for the same terminal. It looks exactly the same as the one in the East Tower, but it's just in Seabed. And again, just make sure that you speak to Hopkins before you go to Seabed to activate the subquest. Once you've done that, you don't actually have to do the tower section of the West Tower. Once you've got the Seabed terminal, you can then quit out the quest. Once you've done that, then you'll be able to use photon drops to add attributes to your weapons. By adding attributes to your weapons, what it allows you to do is increase the native altered beast, machine, or dark. So if I go into this and go enhance weapons photon, so he says that for 20 photon drops, he can increase an attribute by 5%. You can also use photon spheres. So photon spheres are an exchange item in this quest. And to get a photon sphere, you exchange 99 photon drops, and he will give you 1 photon sphere. A photon sphere is used to upgrade a percentage by, I can't know if it's 20 or 30% now. There you go. So 1 photon sphere is 30%. So generally, people will hold on until they've got photon spheres and then exchange them there. So now on Eir as well, you can actually increase by 1% for 4 photon drops. I'll be honest, I don't really see the point in that. I mean, obviously it works out roughly the same exchange rate, but I would typically only just save for photon spheres and then just do that. But if you do want to do it, this is the way you do it. So you select this, then you choose a weapon. So, for example, you choose a weapon there, and then I'm not going to do it now, but by doing this, he will basically be able to increase one of these attributes for you. So if I did this to my Sangren Yasha here, you can see it has 20% native. So I could increase that native to 25 with 20 photon drops, or I could increase it to 50 by using a photon sphere. And I should note as well, you can use multiple photon spheres to keep sphering an item. Now, the other restriction is, I don't believe, I may be wrong on this, but I don't believe that you can increase attributes that start at 0. But I may be wrong on that. You also cannot increase hit percentage either as well, that's fixed. So that's a rough rundown of the Galen's shop, really. So I would say that the main items that you want to be looking for is photon spheres once you've got 99 photon drops. On Eir as well, there is actually a new item called photon hordes. And what they are is, it allows you to basically stack photon drops. So I believe the way it works is that you can put 99 photon drops into a photon horde, and then it will take 1 slot in your inventory. Because the way PSO's inventory works is you can't have multiple stacks of certain items, so you can't have multiple stacks of photon drops in your inventory. It'll just say your inventory's full once you've got 99. So what this allows you to do is get 99, turn them into a photon horde, put the photon horde in your inventory, and then start building a new stack of photon drops up as well. But I would say, yeah, the main things you want to be looking for is definitely the photon spheres, and possibly some of the items that allow you to transform weapons or armors into other weapons or armors. So things like the heart keys, the blue black stones, the photon boosters, they're all really, really useful. And obviously, you'll probably use it to modify your challenge world weapons as well. So it's definitely a really, really useful quest, and you will find yourself here quite often. So I think that's more or less everything for Galen's shop. And once you're done, you just exit here. Just a quick note as well, once you've been in, so So on this server, you can actually go straight back in. Now, I believe that if you do a deal with Paganini, you can't do another one in the same quest. I think you have to reload the quest. So that's a rough breakdown of how Galen's shop works and the secret photon drop shop from Paganini as well. But I'll call this one there. If there's any questions or anything about PSO in general or anything about this quest, just leave them in the comments below and I will try and answer what I can. If you've enjoyed the video, please consider liking or subscribing. It really, really does help the channel out. But otherwise, I will see you guys in the next video.